Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz? My friends all drive Porsches, I must make amends. Worked hard all my lifetime, no help from my friends. So oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes?
If you've worked on the brakes on your car, such as replacing the pads or a disc, then you should have drained the fluid out of your master cylinder so that when you put new pads in, you don't overflow down inside your car. So when you're done with your brake work, you need to replace this fluid, and if you've had your system apart, then you need to bleed the entire system. What we're going to do here is we're going to flush our system, and flushing will do the bleeding. And the way that I choose to do the flushing is with a motive power bleeder, which I find works very well. There are various methods to do this. You can have a helper and do the traditional up and down. You can use a vacuum bleeder. I choose to use the motive. The way that I have removed my fluid when I started my brake work is with a little syringe that I buy at the local marine store. They use this to squirt epoxy glue, and I use that to suck a little bit of fluid out. Now, since I'm flushing my system, I've pulled out all the fluid that I can reasonably pull out. You need to be very, very careful with brake fluid because it will peel the paint. So make a point of not spilling fluid down inside your car. Now, when you are ready to replace your fluid, you want to use a brand new sealed container. Don't use a container that's been used before, because the idea is to not get moisture into your system, and brake fluid absorbs moisture, and therefore you'll just put more moisture into your system. For my 1984 car, Porsche recommends a .4. .3 has a lower temperature level. .3 and 4 will cover both. So use a quality brake fluid of any good name brand, and you want to see that .4 on there. At this point, my power bleeder is hooked up, and in order to flush a system, you typically do the furthest away first, and then the next furthest away, and you work your way closer and closer. So in this particular case, we will do the passenger side rear, and then the driver's side rear, and then the passenger side front, and then the driver's side front. And that will be the order in which we flush our system. I have now put my brake fluid into my power bleeder. I'm going to pump this up. A maximum of 10 psi recommended, and we can see the fluid flowing in. In my right rear caliper, which is the first one that we're going to flush, I'm all set up. I have a drain bottle onto my bleeder screw. We want to capture this fluid as it comes out, because you don't want to just squirt it all over. Not only does it make a mess, but it also peels the paint. I have pressurized motive on the master cylinder, and let's see what happens. We're going to get probably quite a bit of air through here, which is kind of the goal. We want to get that air out, and the fluid starts to flow. See a bunch of bubbles coming out. I've had this caliper apart in order to replace this disc, which is why I'm getting air in here. So we're going to flush quite a bit until this is kind of a crappy color, this fluid. I want the nice clear color of the new fluid to come through. This is the furthest away caliper, so once we get clear fluid to here, then the main lines have been cleared, and we should be a lot better on every other. We finally reached the point where my fluid is running clean. I've emptied this bottle 3 times. Quite a few air bubbles went through. It now seems to be no more remaining. It's running clean. So I'm going to snap this one up, I'll come back later and torque that, and I'm going to move to the other side and work my way around the car.